People talk about peace and serenity in my work and so forth. I paint what I like to see. Certain things I always want in my paintings. I want them to have formal structure, but I'm also interested in their carrying some kind of emotional impact. And if they don't do that, the structure's no good. Artists live in a peculiar world where the art is the important thing, and a lot of the comforts and luxuries of life that mean so much to most people are not quite that important. I'm almost a Californian because while I was born in Chicago, my parents had the good sense to move to California when I was only 4.5 years old. So I grew up, went to school here, worked here all my life. We had, my sister and I were kids, on a Sunday afternoon the whole family was reading. And sometimes you couldn't hear a pin drop. And of course the reading with me became a lifelong habit, and it's always meant a lot to me. I grew up in Pasadena, and I went to the Pasadena City Schools, and to the grammar schools, and to high school a little young because I skipped a grade, and they thought I wasn't getting enough work to do, so they made me take a summer course, which pushed me up a little, so I was just 13 when I went to high school.
Good morning, everybody. This is Blaze from the Arts, Culture, and Us, and today I'm here at Toby Moss Gallery on Beverly, and we're here to discuss
the restoration of the History of Transportation mural at the city of Inglewood.
Okay, and who is the great artist that we're here to discuss?
Helen Lundeberg. Helen Lundeberg is the creator of it, and she was instrumental in every step of the installation.
Okay, and how long did you know her?
Oh, well, I met her long before, a couple of years before I opened my gallery. So I met her in the mid-'70s, and I had the pleasure of also knowing her husband for 4 years before he died.
And what was his name?
Lorser Feitelson.
Because I read in my research that he was like her mentor and her instructor at one point. Tell us a little bit about that to bring us into what we're going to discuss.
Well, she graduated and got as a graduation gift a scholarship. Thank you, to the Stickney School of Art in Pasadena. And she started off with one teacher, but within a couple of weeks, suddenly her teacher was replaced. He went off on a vacation, and in came Lorser Feitelson, fresh from the East Coast.
Not knowing very much about what I was doing, but anyway, working away. And the school caretaker, Gabaza, brought this young man in, and he said that Mr. Feitelson is going to be our new teacher for the next sessions. And So, well, it was a very hot day. He sat down on a bench behind me somewhere and looked at what I was doing, and he couldn't resist coming up and telling me right away where I was going wrong. Well, at first I didn't realize that I was falling in love with my teacher. That was something one didn't do. So it took several months before I realized it. And it took a little bit longer for him to have the nerve to tell me how he felt. And that was it. That was something that went on all the rest of our lives.
So let's talk a little bit about her Post Surrealism painting.
Well, Post Surrealism is a term that was coined in the 30s. Surrealism is a movement from Europe of the 20s, and it really talked about the creation of images that were beyond control. They simply emerged from the brain and directed the hand. Post Surrealism was a Lorser Feitelson, Helen Lundeberg creation.
Really?
Proposition, and that was probably about 1932-33 they began to talk about it. By 1934 it was named Post Surrealism.
1933 was also the year when Lorser and I began to really formulate the idea of a new classicism. We distinguished between the kinds of paintings that could be called subjective classicism or the new classicism. And one kind we called idea entity, the other mood entity. Now, my first mirror painting belongs to the mood entity category because it doesn't express an idea, that it puts forth a mystery. Another painting, which I guess would fall into the idea entity category, is the double portrait of the artist in time. I was playing with infancy and adulthood, and the central figure in the foreground is a child about 2 years old, which I did from a baby portrait that had been made of me. I still have it. And by painting the infant as real and smiling and holding a little budding flower in her hand, and casting a shadow from her to the wall back of her and up the wall and overlapping a self-portrait I had done earlier, I was sort of playing with time in reverse, as it were, as if the infant shadow forecasts the adult. This painting, which is called Microcosm and Macrocosm, shows you the microcosm here is blown up by a microscope to show all these little creatures in it. And here's a further blow up, and here's an enlargement of one. And the little glass in the hand of the figure here is a sort of symbol for the microscope and the telescope. So here we come to some macrocosm, and here is the blow-up of one of these tiny things, which is Saturn. I don't know what else to say about it, except I'm sort of fond of this one.
Finally, they developed this process of petrochrome, which were natural colored stones that were used in a mosaic. They could take the natural colored stones and create your composition.
No, wait. You don't just go outside and find natural colored stones, do you?
No, but they...
In other words, if they wanted to do a work like this, they'd find stones this particular color or shade.
Yes, in nature there
By
are...
the way, we want to mention this is one of her works.
Oh, yes.
Later on. We'll talk about her various styles a little later on, but just during the scene, we have this here. I want to point it out so they can take a look at it.
Sure, the mural is before this painting.
So, What is the name of this? To me, it looks like the rock. What is the name of it?
It is The Shadow of the Rock.
Ah, The Shadow of
It
the Rock.
has a special mood, the Helen Lundeberg mood.
I love it.
So do I.
I love it.
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. Okay. So just so they'll know, this is some of her work. We were sitting here, and we're, again, I want to point out we're at Toby Moss's gallery, right here on Beverly, close to
Beverly Boulevard.
Beverly Boulevard, close to La Brea. And the whole little strip, we'll mention that, is a whole lot of little galleries.
Oh,
It's
yes.
so beautiful over here.
Yes.
It really is.
We have an art community here.
Yeah, and you said something about restaurants and all that.
Oh, my goodness. Such good restaurants. The best restaurants in the city.
Okay, so some of the people want to
Angelini.
come and take a look, and later on we'll shoot a few of the paintings in here. You know, people that watch my shows, what we call the arts, culture, and us, because I love to go to galleries and museums, and I really appreciate you. What's the name of the group? Restoring the...
The mural? Well, there's no real name to it. It's simply called the conservation, the restoration of the History of Transportation mural by the city of Inglewood. And it's Inglewood who's been the moving force for it. Curiously enough, before this project started, at least before it took form, I had felt the need to do this very thing. I had hired a director and a cameraman and an editor and a support staff, and we developed a film, a video of Helen, starting with her early life and going through the Federal Arts Project. And
sounds like a great movie.
It is. Well, it's pretty good. It's. I will have to say that I think that it needs a little re-edit. But I did publish a video of this, and it includes a segment of Helen walking along the wall. We took a little caravan over to the park, to Centinela Park, where it was at that time, and she walked down the wall and told about how she had been involved with it, and we talked about the images, and we got some wonderful shots. Curiously enough, about 6 weeks after that, some kids stole a car and rammed it into the section of the wall, so that a couple of the panels were severely damaged, which has all been taken care of now because we had the original sketches to go by.
I saw them. I think I have that on film a little bit.
So that film is also a very nice record. In fact, I think it's the only the only record of Helen talking.
I've been asked what I thought about the federal art projects many times, and I must say that for me it was a wonderful thing. It enabled me to earn a living, to pursue my profession, and while what I did for the project was what the project wanted, I had time of my own in the evenings and weekends to, I continued to paint some post-surreal paintings. Other murals that I designed for the arts project were done in a medium that was, I think, invented by the people at the project. It was the use of colored cement and aggregate or crushed stone, such as is used for terrazzo floors and so on. I was assigned to this mural project and given a subject by the head of the mural department, Lorser Feitelson. And I presume that he had talked to the Inglewood people, and this is what they wanted, a history of transportation in this area. And it goes from the Indians down there to airplanes. They used a technique that's used for making terrazzo floors, but done in such a way that it could be laid down on masonite panels, 4 by 8 I think is the standard size, and poured from the back, and then when the whole thing is solidified, it was polished. And it looked very nice. It looks faded to me now because it's had no polish in 40 years, I guess.
I guess this show, you know, the show is 28.5 minutes long, and so I'm certain that we've done more than enough, but I do want to give the opportunity if there's anything else you can relax and think. Is there anything else you'd like to say, or any other?
Well, I could say that because of my acquaintance with Helen and Lorser, long before I thought about opening my gallery, I began to realize that in American art history, the art history was largely written about the artists and art institutions on the eastern seaboard, where all the publishers and the press and the galleries, where all the art scene was considered to be. And nobody went west of the Hudson River. And I knew that California, Los Angeles particularly, had a thriving creative art center, and that many of the art that was being shown in New York had been really created in California by California artists who felt that they had to go to the eastern seaboard to be discovered. So I channeled my gallery from originally 5 centuries of prints and drawings to focus upon the history of art in Los Angeles from approximately 1930s to the present. In 1930s, I picked because of the creative changes that took place, such as Post Surrealism, and because it was the beginnings of abstraction, of departing from the traditional Hudson River School and California Impressionism. It's that crispness, that new vision, that pushing out of the barriers that Lorser Feitelson came here for originally, and which extended from the 30s on. California is a very creative place, that everything you see around you is by an artist of California, created in California, and it's the seed bed of the creativity for today. Most of the work in this room, I'm just looking around, is from the 30s.
Hold on one second.
This is John McLaughlin. This is Leonard Edmondson.
Leonard Edmondson?
That's right. William Dole.
Which one, up here?
The two up top there.
Oh, I do see the symbol. Let me get them both.
Here. Gordon Wagner did the assemblage there, to the right. And
what do you call it?
That's right.
Look at that.
That's really one of the early. That's from the late 50s, 1959, 60. He was a great figure in California assemblage movement.
I'm looking at that picture. I remember everybody used to have a picture of their grandmother like that. Their grandpa.
And then Lee Mulliken did the impersonator right here. That's a marvelous piece. Lee Mulliken. And there was an exhibition of his work, a one-person show at the LA County just this last year. And here is David Levine. That's a piece from the 30s.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
And John McLaughlin.
I need to take a vacation to that place. And
John McLaughlin from the 1949. Oh, he was very, very important to the hard edge movement of California. He and Lorser Feitelson were the real instigators of that, or were the developers of that.
Beautiful.
And then below that is Betty Saar. She's being exhibited right now at the Pasadena Museum of California Art, along with her daughter Leslie and
her daughter's a painter as well?
Yes, her 2 daughters are painters and assemblagists. This is Clinton Adams right here. Marvelous
Is
piece.
he somebody we should know?
Well, Clinton Adams was taught at UCLA in the 40s and was present at the beginning, the founding of the Tamarind Lithography Workshop. He's very well known as a lithographer, too. This is Matsumi Kanamitsu.
I like that.
It's called Mickey Mouse Blues. And it's a
Say
gouache.
his name again?
Matsumi Kanamitsu.
I love it.
Yeah, he's very fine. As you can see, there are a number of pieces here about California. That's Lee Mulliken, and that's Claire Falkenstein, and Peter Shire. This is Peter Shire, yes, his teapots. That's a sketch for a teapot. We're going to have actual fantastic teapots and constructions that are going to be here in November for a one-person show.
In other words, you are committed to the California artists.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I focus on. Oh, I almost forgot. Inez Johnston is a Los Angeles artist. She went to Berkeley in 1948 and came to Los Angeles soon afterwards and has been here ever since. And she creates these mystical, magical worlds with great narratives. In fact, this is a bronze of hers as well, and
Ooh, this is nice.
that's a carved wooden piece. That's a green
Talking about transportation, I guess this used to be like somebody's bus, huh? How unique.
And then we shift into Jay Rifkin. This is a very unique carving of hers, actually an assemblage of found pieces, and a drawing of hers.
I've dealt with several artists that use found and junk pieces and make art out.
That's the basis of California assemblage.
Well, this is found art.
That's right.
Oh, intentionally. This is beautiful. Reminds me of something of Helen's softness.
It has it's a very architectonic piece, and really talks about the fact that after her husband walked out on her when she had an autistic child to raise, she went to work in an architect's office doing renderings during draftsmanship, during drafting. And
I see the same angle in this piece. That must be hers too, huh?
No, that's Herbert Bayer.
Oh,
he is a Bauhaus-trained artist who ended up here in Santa Barbara. Wonderful artist as well.
Santa Barbara, is that where all the great artists used to live out here?
A great many. Peter Krasnow.
Peter who? Peter
Krasnow. And Peter Krasnow was an artist who came here to California in 1922-23. He was a great friend of Edward Weston. And he had such a unique vision and way of speaking that's really what identifies California artists, is that they have their own way of speaking. They cannot be mistaken for anyone else's work. And when his work is in exhibition, in a group exhibition, they have to give him his own corner or his own room.
That is.
All right, that is.
Certainly.
This is Betty Sauer again, and this is a lithograph called "L.A. Skies and Spinning Hearts," and it actually has pieces that are in springs that spring off the surface of the paper, and you can see that it's in a very eccentric shape, and it's actually pieced and sewed, hand sewn.
Is it?
Yes, there's sewing here. See the sewing?
No, I never heard of sewing in art before.
Well, here you see it.
This
now
is
you see
truly
it.
unique.
It tells us, first of all, I guess that it's a woman's painting, a woman's composition, and it also talks about her black heritage, and it talks about Los Angeles, her.
I see the pine tree.
Yeah. The man who does matting for us loves this piece so much, and you can see he made a very special mat, one that cuts out for all the portion for all the projections in her composition. It's a wonderful piece.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And see, we jump from her to somebody as abstract as Laddie John Dill. Laddie John Dill creates these massive pieces in stone and marble.
So you know what I see? I see you should have your own show and go around the galleries and just talk about people's work. You're just so great.
Well, I do like to do that. I'm just looking right here. Here are other Californians. Here's Nikki de Sanfal, who's really an international artist, but she spent a lot of time here in California and died here just fairly recently. Just so full of life, so buoyant, so fun.
What's this?
And this is Nathan Oliveira, a great, great artist.
Wow.
Also a creative of a mood and a space of his own.
I haven't seen a head like that since like the 17th century.
Well,
Paintings.
he is.
Heads used to be
This
shaped.
is modern classicism, you know. It's a new way of speaking.
I love it.
And over here is Rico Lebrun, great Rico Lebrun, who was active in the Jepson School here in the 40s.
Now, is this his work or a print?
This is a watercolor. This is a gouache.
Ah.
He actually was with the Federal Arts Project in New York in the 30s, and then came to California.
This is his too?
This one here, and then came to California in about 1940, 41, and was active in Los Angeles, as I say, in the Jepson School. A great teacher, a great leader, and influenced many, many artists. This is Ruth Asawa. Ruth Asawa was interned at the Rower camp in Arkansas, but really grew up here in California, Los Angeles.
Like coral.
Well, it's a form from nature. It's actually a bronze.
Oh, but it looks like a piece of coral or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
Yes, it is. It's very
How
fine.
unique.
And she has a one-person show just opening up at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art in November this year.
Okay, this is Blaze, and I'm just finishing up a fantastic interview. It's one of those interviews that's so great, I'm probably going to have to make an extended copy just for you personally. So I want to thank you very much for having me here.
My pleasure.
And here we are, and this is Toby Moss, and we're here on Beverly Boulevard. This is one of the greatest areas. It's one of these areas where you can come and just walk around. You can park your car and walk around, do all kinds of activities. It's thriving. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blaze out.
To see. I don't like disorder and confusion or violence. And I know they go on in the world, but why should I have to paint them? If the painting doesn't add up to a mood or something, I'm not interested, you see, in doing a purely formal abstract sort of thing. It has to say something to me, but not in so many words, because I can't put it in words.